Call this Cocalico Township Supervisor meeting for November 15th to order. Can we please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At 7:15 to 7:21, we had an executive session about contractual matters. We're going to do a abbreviated meeting tonight because of the inclement weather. So we'll continue with approving the meeting minutes for October 18th. Any additions or corrections to those meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to be passed as presented.
And I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Motion carried, sorry. Okay, the meeting minutes for November 1st, Board of Supervisor. Any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion, we accept those.
I'll second it. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, motion carried. Thank you. We're going to skip over the zoning officer report. The chief has something he'd like to share with us.
Just real quick, I'm presenting Officer Zachary Weaver with a certificate of commendation for his actions in reference to an overdose on South 4th Street in Denver. He removed the person from, I guess he was in a bathtub, removed them from the bathtub, performed CPR, administered 2 doses of Narcan. The person spent the night in the hospital, but the officer Weaver definitely saved his life. So I will be presenting that to him tomorrow when he's working.
Okay, thank you. Just be sure to tell him we appreciate it. I will. Okay.
Chief, the age of the person, I think the figure said 23.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Chief, Weaver's first name, officer?
Zachary.
Zachary. Officer, and you said 2 doses of Narcan, and then
He performed CPR today and all
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions of the chief? Okay, thank you. List of bills.
Okay, you got a list of bills, and they are as follows. You have a total general fund of $44,936.14. Total state fund of $31,622.79. And a total hydrant fund of $14,670. Questions?
Got a motion to approve the
I
bills?
make a motion the bills be paid as presented.
And I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Land planning.
Yes, Mr. Chair, there's a couple action items that we need to take action on tonight, and they happen to be all the land planning items too, because each one can get deferred to our first December meeting. First one you have is a plot area lot annexation plan, and it is basically involves the transfer of land to an adjacent parcel of land on their property. So the motion is to approve a waiver modification of section 194.13B3. The subdivision and land development warrant to relieve the applicant for depicting additional existing features that are located on or within 200 of the feet of the subject property.
He's not here tonight, so I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Second motion is to approve a waiver modification of section 194.23B3A and 194.40B of the subdivision and land development ordinance to relieve the applicant from performing a detailed wetland determination.
I'll make that motion.
For the second.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Third motion is to approve a waiver modification of section 194.13B4 of the subdivision and land development ordinance to relieve the applicant from the requirement to obtain a Pennsylvania National Diversity Index (PND) habitat clearance in conjunction with the annexation.
I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
The last motion is to conditionally approve the plot area of their lot annexation plan conditioned upon the applicant resolving all outstanding comments as outlined and the Becker Engineering Review Letter dated October 19, 2018, to the satisfaction of the township and the township engineer.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A second? I'll second it. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Your next two items involve just extending the paving deadline due to some of the inclement weather, especially some of it, what's happened today. Some of the paving will occur on Friday, possibly more likely next week. So the first motion involves True Denver, and the motion is authorized to approve a waiver modification of section 194.25K11 of the East Cocalico Township subdivision land development ordinance to extend the previously extended asphalt paving deadline from November 15, 2018 to December 6, 2018, conditioned upon the contractor strictly adhering to all applicable weather and temperature restrictions.
I don't see anybody here for that. Does a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank
Scott, real
you.
quick, if they slip, they can still pave, when is the plant shut
No, thanks for coming to
Very
December.
good.
down? They still have December.
Yeah, they're running out of
So,
time.
yeah, they're running out of time. It may happen this spring.
We'll see. I think they got another week to get it done.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, next one is Heather Woods. It's the exact same motion. The motion is authorized to approval waiver modification section 194.25K11 of the East Cocalico Township subdivision land development ordinance to extend the previously extended asphalt pavement deadline from November 15, 2018 to December 6, 2018, conditioned upon the contractor strictly adhering to all applicable weather and temperature restrictions.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, next one is a small stormwater management plan. It's called the Dropout Stormwater Management Plan, and the motion is to conditionally approve the Dropout Stormwater Management Plan, conditioned upon that addressing all items outlined at Becker Engineering Review Letter dated November 2nd, 2018, to the satisfaction of the township, township zoning officer, township engineer, and township solicitor.
And nobody's here representing that plan to see that, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
And now we have some securities. The motion is authorized the Board of Supervisors to sign the Improvement Guarantee Agreement, IGA, for the Dropout Stormwater Management Plan when signed by the applicant and provided in a form acceptable to the township solicitor, along with the required financial security and amount acceptable to the township engineer and a form acceptable to the township solicitor.
Move the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Next motion is authorized the Board of Supervisors to sign the stormwater maintenance and easement agreement related to the Dropout Stormwater Management Plan when executed by the applicant and submitted to the township in a form acceptable to the township solicitor.
I'll make that motion. I'll second. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
And finally, the motion is authorized signature of the Dropout Stormwater Management Plan by the Board of Supervisors upon the applicant adequately resolving all conditions of the plan approval to the satisfaction of the township zoning officer, township engineer, and township solicitor.
Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
And next one is the Clayton Homes, is another minor stormwater management plan. And the motion is to conditionally approve the Clayton Homes stormwater management plan conditioned upon the applicant addressing all items outlined in the Becker Engineering Review Letter date October 10th, 2018 to the satisfaction of the township zoning officer, township engineer, and township solicitor.
I'll make that motion because nobody's here representing that. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, for being in the process, the next motion is to authorize the Board of Supervisors to sign an improvement guarantee agreement for Clayton Homes stormwater management plan when signed by the applicant and provided in a form acceptable to the township solicitor, along with required financial securities and the amount acceptable to the township engineer and form acceptable to the township solicitor.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, next motion is to authorize the Board of Supervisors to sign the stormwater maintenance and easement agreement related to the Clayton Homes Stormwater Management Plan when executed by the applicant and submitted to the township in the form of acceptable to the township solicitor.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Last motion for this plan is to authorize signature of the Clayton Homes Stormwater Management Plan by the Board of Supervisors to fund the applicant adequately resolving all conditions of the plan approval to the satisfaction of the township, township zoning officer, township engineer, and township solicitor.
Motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Your last land planning action is a financial security release, and this is for Delaware Valley Golden Retriever Rescue. And the motion is to approve the release of the remaining financial security currently being held by the township related to DVGRR land development in the amount of $11,259.68. Condition on the applicant acknowledging responsibility to address any drainage issues if identified in the future in conjunction with the driveway, apron paving, and provide pavement radii on the western driveway in conjunction with the next paving work performed on site. There is a little bit of issue with how they paved one of their driveways, but not enough to require it to be redone.
I'll make that motion to the members here representing it.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Buyout principal benefit index for police pension plan.
This is moved rather rapidly. So on Monday, there was a number of emails that went back and forth between Principal and Univest presenting the different options, which we had talked about in the past that would occur. So I want to just read out the emails that I had sent out to the pension working group because we do not have time to meet at that point, as well as an additional email that was said by Ron Bittner related to this. So if you can entertain me just reading these verbatim. Yesterday, which was the other day, Univest met with Liz and I late in the afternoon to discuss issues with transferring the non-uniform plan and surrender charges. Evidently, there was a flurry of activity on Monday between Principal and Univest, including over 20 emails that I have not read yet. At the end of Monday, Principal submitted to Univest the attached document related to the benefit index for the police pension. And I said, please read these carefully. And I attached those documents, which is what you have in your packet right now. Univest is recommending that we do option 4 and buy out the benefit index, creating annuities for the retired officers for $6,398,920 plus or minus. The number will change a small amount each day with market fluctuation. Basically, with the buyout, we will formally separate from Principal. The remaining monies, less than $6 million, will be managed going forward with Univest and there will be no further involvement with Principal. Each retired officer will have a fully funded annuity with Principal directly. Note this number is significantly less than the benefit index at $9,146,910, which was made artificially high with the 6% annual growth rate assumption by Principal. Univest spent Monday night evaluating the offer and find it very fair. Basically, with the market at an all-time high, this is our opportunity to separate without taking a financial hit. Note, if we stay with the benefit index to fully funded status, and there is a market correction of 40 to 50%, then we would be obligated contractually to replenish the benefit index to fully funded status with Principal. Also note that when the last retiree or spouse passes on, the township could recoup any unspent benefit index funds in the next 30 or 40 years. However, it is not worth that risk to possibly gain some money decades out. Our MMO would not take a hit with this decision, assuming the market does not have a big negative swing in December. In fact, if we have a positive 2018, we should still see an MMO improvement, as I understand it. Also included is our actuarial report, which is with highlights by Univest. Note that on page 15, the present value retirement benefits do not include our two most recent retirees. When you factor them in, you get to the number that Principal is offering for the buyout. Univest is recommending prompt action. This will be on the Board of Supervisors agenda for Thursday. I'd like feedback or questions from the pension group. I feel very comfortable with what Univest is proposing. And then I concluded the email. There's a second email because there were some additional questions from the working group, and this was provided by Ron Bittner from Univest. And basically, he just answered some questions that they had. So based on the values recently provided by principal, the choice for annuity purchase at $6.4 million is substantially less than $9.1 million benefit index value. Under either option, principal is guaranteeing the benefits for those retired officers and will retain a significant amount of assets to do so. However, I do not expect to see such a low annuity purchase number based on my, however, I did not expect to see such a low annuity purchase number based on my experience with previous claims. Due to the additional $2.7 million that will be freed up, the annuity option makes more sense than the benefit index option, and the amount is in line with the retiree liability contained in the most recent Act 205 report, which that there is 2 more retirees than there were in 1/1/2017. If the benefit index choice is selected, principal will retain those assets and will revalue that asset every quarter as they do now. If the actual asset value in the portfolio fails substantially, as it would likely occur on a major correction or another section, the township would have to send more money to principal to keep the benefit index fully funded. There's a possibility of recovering assets much later from the benefit index only after all the retirees have died. Since the potential asset recovery from the benefit index may or may not occur until years in the future, it is my recommendation to select choice 4 annuity option now, which locks in the higher asset transfer out of principal this year and eliminates any future risk of having to send principal more money to shore up the benefit index fund if it becomes necessary. Again, I believe this makes more sense at this time because we now know the actual dollar value for both alternatives, which was not known earlier. Under choice 4, the $6.4 million will be used to purchase a principal single premium group annuity contract, which will guarantee the future benefits of all applicable retirees and spouses. The cost of the premium includes any administrative and insurance fees, expenses charged by principal, plus the amounts needed to fully fund officers' monthly benefits. The officers will not pay any fees, and their monthly benefits are unaffected. Basically, the officer will pay no additional new fees. They will still pay any fees, whether it was the benefit index or the annuity. They're not just going to tack on a bunch of additional new fees on top of the fees they're already going to pay. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, another question was about guarantees. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania does not guarantee any police or other retirees' benefits, whether they are annuitized or not. And if anything happens to the police pension fund that we will be managing or the group annuity held by and administered by principal, the township would be liable for satisfying those requirement benefits, just as it's always been. Although anything is possible and no one can see in the future, principal is one of the higher rated leading insurance companies that provides pension programs. As part of the insurance industry, principal also maintains reinsurance from other insurance companies that spreads the risk of loss and provides asset recovery in the event of a significant event. Overall, the industry has a history of bailing out several companies so that policyholders are protected. Finally, at September 30, 2018, the entire police account value was approximately $12.2 million. If the benefit index is selected, less than $3 million will be transferred to the new TD Ameritrade account. Which was selected, about $5.8 million will be transferred. And then Ron concluded, hope this helps clarify any questions that we're working through that. Basically, investors requesting it seems to make a lot of sense to me. The way one of the things I always look at is you follow the money when a decision is being made to see whether it's a good decision or a bad decision. It would be in Unifest's best interest for them to manage $12 million versus them to manage $6 million because they collect more fees. So what they are definitely proposing results in them collecting a smaller fee from the township. So that kind of tells me that they are acting in our best interest beyond what they say in all these emails and explanations. I feel that our officers are being protected, they're retired because they are getting an annuity. I do understand the reinsurance policy is not well understood by most people, but insurance companies, and I know RC understands this too, have insurance on themselves in case they have a significant claim so they can still honor their claims. So it is very rare to ever have an insurance company ever go out of business. I mean, they will be the last thing standing, them and cockroaches, if there's ever a nuclear war.
Cockroaches.
So I mean, there's nothing that we really have to fear on that end, that they would not be able to honor their annuities. That's why people put monies in annuities in the first place, because it kind of avoids the market fluctuations that occur in the stock market. So what you have before you is, and I'll read the motion and then talk about document real quickly more. The motion is to move, is to approve the buyout of the principal benefit index for the police pension plan and to authorize the manager to sign the documents prepared by principal. So you have in front of you the principal option for the benefit index, and you have what is called choice 4. You see the 6.398929 number that's highlighted. That would be what we would be selecting, and by your authorization, then I will fill out the next page, the future dividend directions on tomorrow with Univest, and then Univest will promptly order that to principal, and this could happen as soon as tomorrow.
Yeah, it's absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Before they find a method.
You gonna make that motion?
Like I said, I'll read the motion. The motion is to approve the buyout of principal benefit index for the police pension plan and authorize the manager to sign the documents prepared by principal.
Yeah, I'll make that motion for sure.
You okay with that, Doug?
Yep.
Okay, I'll second it. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay. The next motion.
Okay, except move stuff around the packet. Okay, next item we have, this is an administrative tax, but because it's a change in policy, I just wanted to get the township to bless off on the concept so that we can move forward. And so I'll read the motion and then I'll talk about what is occurring. The motion is to move the non-uniform township staff to a high deductible health care plan with a health savings account and a health reimbursement account. I did get numbers from our provider Keystone that does our brokerage with our current health savings plan, and what is being proposed is called it's a high deductible health care plan. They gave 3 alternatives for us to look at. One was a high deductible plan with just a health savings account. The second one was a high deductible plan with a health reimbursement account. And the third one was a very high deductible plan with a health savings account stacked with a health reimbursement account. I ran some numbers using our current health numbers that we have by employee and by individual. And I did not provide those numbers in your packet, nor did I provide them to you individually because it's all HIPAA protected information. But a summary of that information is the high deductible health care plan seems to give us be the best value of the 3 alternate plans represent and a better value than what our current PPO plan is offering. The high deductible plan that we're looking at here has an individual deductible of $3,500 and a family deductible of $7,000. And what is proposed is an employer funded health savings account of $1,500 for singles and $3,000 for family, and a health reimbursement account of $2,000 for singles and $4,000 for family. I used our current 2018 plan and ran our current 2018 staffing into the new plan, just to get an apples to apples comparison with what we were currently paying this year versus what the new plan could propose. After factoring in all the expenses of funding the HSA and HRA, it is projected to save the township 2.6% less than the 2018 healthcare cost numbers if all of 2018 employees were on the plan. Obviously, we made some staff reductions going into 2019. There's some other adjustments with the supervisors going on to a Medicare Advantage-like plan. None of that's factored in the numbers. It's straight up looking at the 2018 numbers to this plan. So roughly, if all the employees were to go into it, it would result in a savings of approximately like 2.5% roughly. If we do the non-uniform, which initially was proposed, it's a savings of roughly about 1.5% over 2018 numbers. So the motion, I said, is to move the non-uniform township staff to a high deductible health care plan with a health savings account and health reimbursement account. am intending to have an employee meeting to kind of explain those topics, since that's a new concept, pretty much all to employees. I did invite the police union to that meeting and see if they might be interested in voluntarily moving over to that plan, and I will present that information at the same time as I present that to non-uniform employees.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. Russell, is there a copy of those quotes?
It's in handwriting, because it came off a HIPAA. So, all I did was do quick math. So it's pretty much exactly, I can even read you the numbers. Current plan is $767,868. Proposed high deductible health care plan is $584,564. After you factor in HSA and HRA, the total cost of the 2018 plan was $767,868. Proposed high deductible health care plan with the HSA and HRA cost is $737,000.64.
That's not apples for apples with several employees changes on that.
Well, that's comparing 2018 numbers. If this was our plan for 2018, this is what it would cost us. So yes, 2019 is going to be different because of all those other changes, but it was looking purely at 2018.
18 versus 18.
18, right. That way I would have an apples to apples comparison of the two plans.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Chair, if you could move down to the end of your advertisements, that's something we have to take action on tonight. The motion is to approve the end of your advertisements for our CPA appointment and for the 2019 meeting dates. The critical item is a CPA appointment advertisement because we have to have 30 days. If we don't approve it in this meeting, then we cannot do that at our board.
Oh, the meeting, is this the calendar also?
Yeah, it's not the calendar, it's the meeting, it's advertisement.
Just the date, not the time.
Well, the time is, if you look at the notice, the time is highlighted in red. And I did recommend that, given that our meetings are running a lot longer, and given that most municipalities do 7 p.m. meetings, that we move our meetings to 7 p.m. too. So that we can get out here before 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night.
What's the wish to do? So that was your recommendation?
That's my recommendation.
Well, I questioned that because when I got the packet, it said we're gonna begin at 7. We never even discussed this.
That's my recommendation.
I don't have a problem with it, it's just that for 50 years we've been doing 7:30. Our zoning and hearing board 7:30, the planning commission 7:30, and the workshop 7. Again, I realize why it might have been done. I'm not gonna hang up on that. 7's fine, I don't care.
I'm almost kind of.
I'd rather do one. I would much rather do one during the day,
Yeah.
rather than
It's,
one during the day and one at night.
yeah, one of the things we really need to think about too is to respect everybody's time. There's a tremendous amount of work coming next year.
Well, if you guys
There's a
wish,
lot of things going on that we're gonna have to discuss, and they're moving very, very quickly.
if you wish, we can split this out. I mean, this does not have to be done tonight.
No.
The CPA advertisement has to be done tonight.
Yeah, that should,
So if you want, we can make the motion.
I don't
simply-
know, you got my question.
Yeah, but I mean, if the board would like to entertain a couple afternoon or morning meetings, I would certainly support that. So if that's something you want to think about a little bit
Or
more,
one less night meeting for you.
I would support that in a heartbeat. So if you guys want to think about that a little bit more, we can modify that motion.
And
if you like.
we got one, yeah.
let's table that one for now, but let's definitely address the CPA. one,
Okay,
because we're-
so the motion
we're on
be-
timeline there.
To move the year advertisement of the CPA appointment. I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, appointment of tax collector.
Mr. Chair, I'll read the motion, and I do not know which way this is going, so I put both names in here. So the motion is to appoint Sue Nielsen or Jill Cordone for a 2-year, the motion to appoint Sue Nielsen or Jill Cordone for 2 years to serve with the remaining expired term of Joan Fisher effective January 2nd, 2019. This appointment shall terminate on December 31st, 2021. And as we had discussed in the past, we did advertise. We did get 2 qualified candidates. The candidates were interviewed, and now it's before the board for deliberation and discussion.
Okay.
Well, there was 5 people at that interview. Romeo was not there, he had business. So Alan and I and the tax collector, Liz, I stand corrected, there were 6 of us there. Scott, Liz, Alan and I, Joan, I guess there was 5. We interviewed both those candidates and gave each one of them the very same list of questions, asked each candidate the very same list of questions. They were scripted out. Certainly I'm not going to get into those details right now, it's personal, it's a personnel issue. But I have my feeling. One candidate stood out among the 2. And I don't mind telling you that my recommendation would be that we appoint Sue Nielsen to fill out the unexpired term of Joan Fisher, who is resigning for health reasons. That would be my recommendation. That's my vote.
Joan concurred on that recommendation.
Yes, you did.
So I'll second that motion. Any other comments or questions?
What are we gonna do about the letter from Sue to us, to the township?
What are we going to do about it?
Yeah. I thought her letter was completely clear that she wasn't interested in the position due to political affiliations.
And I think she is interested. Alan talked to her, I did not, so I'll let
Yeah,
Alan address that.
She said she's interested in the position. At this time, she didn't like the guy down in Washington. That was the comment, but she is interested in the position. She's an independent at this time.
How is that relevant to a local tax collector position?
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. One time we agreed. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a politically appointed position. And that person has to be able to, and it's a politically appointed position.
She said she's willing to do it
That's how it's
for 2
run.
years.
And
And she seemed to be very competent in answer all the questions, so.
there was a difference in the candidates.
There were 2 competent individuals, but she seemed to be a little more competent than the other individuals.
It
so.
seemed to me a lot more, but anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I felt very comfortable with both of them, but young lady, the one that I'm talking about came well prepared and had all the right answers and could figure out a map for me and was laid in front of her. Just like that, so.
So let me just, give me just a minute to just speculate anonymously here. I guess the board here is all the same political affiliation, and the candidate has a different political affiliation, so perhaps she would not be looked at fairly because of that, because of the differences. Yeah, you don't have to acknowledge that, but I guess I'll surmise that.
My personal feeling is we appoint people to the planning commission, the zoning hearing board, and the water and sewer authority. And I don't ask their political position. I look at the individual as a person.
Yeah.
And this is the way I looked at this individual too. And when I first talked to her, she said she had no problem becoming a Republican.
Well, it's not necessary for the position.
No, you either want a tax collector, it's not, to me, if you have qualified people, it shouldn't matter what. Like I said, we interviewed 2 candidates, and one of them was more qualified than the other one, in my opinion. Forget the party, forget that. I want the qualified person. That's what I want for the better of the tax collector, for the people of this township.
Job performance.
Right, that's exactly right, so.
But she had concerns that perhaps that her political affiliation might get in the way of it being appointed.
No, getting elected.
Of getting elected in 2 years.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I see. Well, there's time to figure that out.
Well, you're right. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
That's enough said.
That's fine. I see now, all right.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
For the record, I'm voting no on that.
Okay, thank you.
I want that in the record.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Chair, the next item that we need to take action on to meet your goals of having a website that's up and running sometime early next year is the Civic Plus proposal. I rapidly shared that with you last meeting, in order to have it as an action item. The motion here is to approve Civic Plus to prepare a new township website and authorize a signature update agreement by the township manager. That's the motion. The fees have not changed from what I showed you at the last meeting, which is $9,000 for project cost. Annual cost would be $2,250 to maintain the website.
Have a motion?
I would make a motion.
And I'll second that one.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Good.
The last item on your abbreviated agenda would be the purchase of 3 vehicles. That was something you said you want to have this done tonight.
Yes, I went up to Al's the other week and discussed the police vehicles. What precipitated that was the detective car heater went out. Also, the radiator's bad on it, so Al said it'll be over about $1,100 at least to repair that car. And then I said,
It's 14 years old.
you're gonna get picky now.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's 14 years.
It's a teenager.
That's true.
Anyway, and then I asked him about that, we have one Crown Vicky left. Well, the motors in them are great, but the suspension and everything else it's not good as a patrol car. And Trojan loves it, but he shouldn't be driving it.
Doesn't count.
But anyway, and then one of the SUVs is gonna be used by the SRO, and that has over 100,000 miles on it too.
Correct.
So the chief got prices from
It's Whitmore.
Whitmore, and I'd like to make a motion, we authorize him. We have money in the capital,
We have money in the budget.
we have money in the budget that wasn't spent this year, and these vehicles need to be replaced before somebody gets hurt.
I did look at your, the flyer you found in that
I couldn't remember the number.
PA magazine. They were, it was a little bit higher than what we could get the 2018 on the CoStar price. But they were 2017s, and New Holland said they got snatched up right away, so they don't have to.
That's fine, thank you.
Just check
Thank you.
into that.
I just trying to help.
No, I appreciate it.
So I'll make a motion, we authorize the chief to get 3 new patrol cars.
And before we finish that, by getting those, we hopefully won't have to go through this exercise for how many more years?
I am hoping, and the way I figured it, if my calculations are right, with the mileage we put on, with keeping car 6 for the SRO, again, Detective Neff's car's 14 years old, I'm looking at 4 years we can go out without purchasing a vehicle. Fingers crossed.
I understand that. There's no guarantee, I realize that. But that's the intent, that's why we're doing it. So we made a motion.
Yeah.
I'll second. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me say a couple of things here, for the public's sake also, related to these police cars. This is in the budget. This is one of those things that is part of our strategic planning, and it's really a strategic investment, okay? For the foundation for future growth that we're putting in place, we need those cars up and running, and we need to make sure that they're running properly over the next 3 to 4 years. Okay. The other thing is I absolutely want to emphasize, I think Alan just said it, or Doug, we're getting to the point that those cars are getting to be a liability, and heaven forbid there's actually an accident or an incident, heaven forbid, like something that happened at Lidditz. We don't want anyone looking at the fact that we were driving a car that was marginal for liability's sake, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second?
Second, yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry, you have a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Normally, state inspection covers the liability aspect on a vehicle. That should cover you for year to year.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Chief, you had talked maybe 2 months ago about a couple of vehicles you had seen, new cars that you had an opportunity to perhaps get purchased, and I never heard any follow-up on that. What
That's
became
these
of that?
cars.
That's
the
these
quotes
cars
we
you're
got.
talking about.
And the sedan would be under, if I'm understanding it correctly, it would be under 2017 state purchase price, state contract purchase price. Even though they're 2018 sedans, they got them, I believe, early in 2018, and, or at some point, and they're not selling like they thought because a lot of departments only want SUVs, and a lot of departments don't want white sedans. So when I talked to him the other day, I said, put my name on, and with my fingers crossed and hoping that if this would come to any kind of decision, that there would still be one there, or each. And they are searching for the Ford Fusion because the one they had on their lot was like $3,000 or $4,000 more because of all the extras that were on it. So they're searching for one that doesn't have that stuff.
They both have workable heaters, though.
They do have heaters and they work. Or I'm hoping they work.
They're not 14 years old.
That's true.
And you don't want the health claims.
Mr. Russell, with the money that was found, is that under the police budget then, or is that elsewhere in the budget?
More than likely, it's elsewhere in the general fund budget.
Where's the projected shortfall or excess, I should say, that what budget items were they, where you're going to find that money?
I'm gonna go through that now that I've been told to do this.
So your
I
short's there, though.
I know it's there. I was basically found out that this was going to be added to the agenda at very short notice, and I will do my due diligence to make the numbers work with the budgets.
So you'll have that next meeting then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Public comment?
That's, yeah.
Sorry. Any public comment? No.
Overall?
Yeah, at the end of
Are
the
you
meeting.
done otherwise?
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, excuse me, my agenda doesn't say that.
We did a shortcut
Oh,
because of the inclement weather,
Okay.
so everybody can get home safely.
okay. Is there a finalization on the new tax that's been proposed, or fee, however it's being described, or the details of that firmed up yet?
Which
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah.
Stormwater fee or
Yes.
tax? Stormwater, no, we haven't. We're still
It hasn't
waiting.
been finalized
The
yet.
details still aren't final.
Correct.
Yeah, because we're looking for we applied for a grant, right? And we're supposed to know about it soon.
Right. That's part of the hang-up.
That's a hang-up.
We put that word out, and then we get the grant, then we gotta look like we didn't do our homework, backtrack. And if we don't, then it is something different, so.
Is it guaranteed to get an answer sometime in the near future, or?
Well, it better.
You mean we're
Whether you
supposed to
get it or not.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I remembered in the last meeting, we were looking for an answer in the next couple of days on that.
Yeah, we were.
We still are. It's the
Yep.
state's
It's
time.
just-
It's the state.
Yeah.
They were supposed to announce by October 31st, and now we're into November.
That's why one of the action items for next year is we're gonna need some business owners to step up and help us out with a political action committee or some kind of lobbying organization to go to the state. I'd like to see it monthly in terms of these exact issues and how they affect us.
There was, I guess, perhaps a rumor out there, you had an opportunity to talk to one of the legislators recently. What was the outcome of that?
Who are you asking a question about?
To you, I guess. I'm sorry, honestly.
I'm sorry, I'm not, I don't understand the question.
I said, there was talk out there that you had the ability to talk to one of the state legislators recently, and I just wondered what the outcome of that was. You know, you were asking the business people to, and it sounded like you had that opportunity. Did you get any answers as to, you know, all these MS4 requirements that are out there, or is it just,
I had a private conversation with one of our legislatures, with one of our representatives about that.
yeah,
And that private conversation was that that individual had indicated to me that they're looking for data. It would be very beneficial to them to get the data in terms of actual dollars and the impact those dollars have on specific businesses, specific geographic areas, so that they can legislate or at least come up with ideas of how to handle this.
so stuff's going on basically that he was not aware of, maybe.
I'm not even, I don't know. It's not right for me to even comment on that because I'd be basically trying to read his mind at this point. But the idea came across as a positive idea.
Well, so then you're hopeful that there can be some progress in the future on some DEP oversight on that, or?
That I do not know, Jeff. I mean, that's a reach. I think the first step, in my mind, the first step really is, for me, it always has, I mean, I guess this is the engineer side of things. The real first step is let's look at the data, let's find out exactly where we are. And I don't, my opinion, my personal opinion, in full disclosure, I mean, there's a lot of things that are new to me sitting up here. There's a lot of things that have happened that I didn't even understand the dynamics, how complex they were, everything that was going on, how our hands are tied in many, many ways. And this MS4 is one of those. So I take a look at that myself, and now I go, okay, at a state legislature level, now I see the direct impacts here in East Cocalico and how it affects us directly in our budget, where we can't even come up with an exact number for a fee because the state made a commitment to give us what our grant monies would be. They still haven't executed on that. There's still a lot of open-ended items. And Scott, Tony, keep me honest here in terms of facts, but I believe from the meeting you guys went to also, they haven't even pinned down exact requirements for exactly what they expect in terms of the number of audits, what the type of reporting they really want to see. That hasn't been pinned down yet.
Is it called a moving target?
Yeah, it's an absolute moving target. So I've come to learn that sitting here. So in my method of thinking is, at the state level now, there's no way that our representatives understand that. So the best way to have them help us is get them the data. Specifically sit down and say, okay, here's the impact to East Cocalico. Here's the impact in dollars. Here's 10 examples of how it affected these properties, businesses, residences, whatever they are. And as you get, when they have that information in front of them, somebody has to look at it. I have faith in somebody's going to have to start looking at it and coming up with a possible fix, help, something.
It's been long said that, and I guess when you talk about federal government, that the House has full reign over the other departments when it comes to budgets and money being spent, which gives them that oversight. And I would assume the same thing happens at the state. Maybe I'm wrong, but you'd think that if there's that kind of overreach going on, that the legislators would have some ability to send a message and say, you know, back off.
You would think, and I don't disagree with it, but you have to remember, the state relies on federal money in many instances. So you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. It's a little tough. It's a fine line. They have to walk as we have to walk. You know, we can go up and chastise the state, but they have ways of dealing with it. I'll make
Yeah, we know
I'll
that.
say that, you know. And you gotta be careful. It's a game. It's a game you have to play. And I don't like those games, but they are what they are.
You know, and
Excuse me, I got a call today from a concerned business person in the community. And this guy happened to be at this focus group that was held with Tony, and they ran that little focus group. And he called up mainly to find out what's the thrust of the MS4. He heard that there's gonna be a tax, and I said, no, it's gonna be a fee. Well, he says, again, you call it what you want, but it's gonna cost us money. And how's that gonna be doled out? And I understand you're gonna pass that tonight. I don't know who's telling you all this bad fake news, garbage, but no, it's not gonna be passed tonight. We are gonna have to deal with it. We don't know what it's gonna be because of what we just said, and I tried to explain that to the gentleman, that rather than put out a number, we gotta wait to see if the state's gonna come through. If they are, it'll be a number different than what we thought. But anyhow, he didn't understand any of that. And you know, I said to him, as a business person, I'm a little disappointed. He said, well, we're finding all this stuff out at the last minute. I said, well, meaning no disrespect to you, sir, but we have a website, first of all. We hold meetings 2 times a month. We actually go to the tour of moving these meetings, different fire halls during the year to try and get people out to the meetings, and we get the same, God bless you, we get the same people coming out. The only time somebody comes out is if they're bent out of shape about something. They'll come in, vent themselves, and they'll disappear for another 6 years. I said, we now have everything's recorded on the web. I said, I don't know what we're supposed to do. The old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, you know, we have all this water out there. If you don't avail yourself of it, I'm sorry. You know, we can't hand feed you each one individually. It's impossible to do. So he understood all that, and I said, I will get back to him tomorrow with any further discussion by this group about the MS4. But it's a unfunded mandate passed on to the state by the feds, and the state's passing it down, and we're the backstop. All that stuff runs downhill, and we're the guys that catch it. So, you know, we have to deal with it. And or I'm not going to sit in jail, I'm sorry. If we don't, this board could wind up in a heap of trouble. As well, not just this board, any board in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, yeah, especially in the Susquehanna River Basin. You either do what they say or else, and they've made that quite clear. We've challenged them on a couple things. We told Scott, we gave Scott direction to stand up to them, and they did, and they backed down a little bit, but, you know, you can only do that so many times. So, we're in the dark doing it, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating, because we're trying to get this budget passed and get it moving forward, but it's probably going to be up to the last minute again, through no fault of our own. We've done a lot of good planning, but it's all being held up.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna basically support some of the things Doug had said. Is, Jeff, remember one thing is, when we're looking at the budget, the good news here is, I'm pretty proud of the way we put a plan together in terms of how we're going to look at these things. We're not sitting here, I'm very proud of the fact that all these people did all this work, this whole building put the work in place, that we're not sitting here today and saying, MS4, I'm not sure what we're going to do, it's going to cost us money, we have no idea what it is. You know, we put it out there. It's over an 800% increase, I believe, in terms of what we have to do next year. 800%, north of 800% is the effect. We have a plan, and the plan that we have is multifaceted. There's many, many moving parts, and that's why you keep hearing me say, and Tony's over there nodding his head, is there's a tremendous amount of work coming down the pike, including logistics, just the logistics of MS4 related, getting Tony down to this office with the extra people, the extra paperwork, the extra room he's gonna need, and getting the supervisors moved down to the other area. So the plan is there. And to what Doug is saying, I totally agree with him. There's days it's very frustrating. But how do you eat an elephant? One small bite at a time. And that's what we're trying to do right now. And I truly believe one of the things that could really help us strategically, one of the things that can absolutely help East Cocalico and our neighbors years down the road, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the road, is getting the information to the state legislature and telling them, here's the direct impact, here's the dollar impact, here's the time impact. Because then somebody has to start paying attention to that instead of just letting it roll down from Washington and say, okay, we'll roll it down to the local level and let them deal with it.
I guess that's the basis of the question, you know, were they oblivious to what's going on out here? Or, you know, if they want information, it sounds like they don't really know.
I can't even venture to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know.
All right. Maybe we'll know more in a few weeks.
Okay. Just for everybody's awareness, I was hoping Brian would be here. I shouldn't bust on him like that. He's not here.
He's out plowing roads, Mr.
Goods is collecting garbage tomorrow in spite of everything. They pulled all their trucks off the road today because of the snow, so they're going back out tomorrow to finish Thursday's pickup, and then they're gonna start on Friday. So it might be noon or something. I was just wondering to bust on Brian.
So does that
Brian,
mean,
when you watch the video,
Yeah, right.
we were thinking of you.
so does that mean every East Cocalico resident will be addressed tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, they're gonna start addressing them. I can't
I
say
don't know,
they'll finish it.
yeah.
I mean, they pulled everything off the road. That was a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys don't want people driving out on the roads. It's bad enough. A few people in our accident. Our son was involved in an accident tonight up in 78, so thank goodness he wasn't hurt, but, you know, it happened.
So we could still have blowing trash on Saturday morning again? then?
Well, I don't know.
Possible.
Yeah. Anything,
But not everywhere.
No.
Got it.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, thank you very much.
So is it good for December 20th?
That's the one that was
That's the family. What were you doing with that? 'Cause I don't want to put it right.
You were sure.
Several times.
Didn't know.
That video camera, we're gonna have to back, we're gonna have to swing it out of that. And it gets warm and then all of a sudden, you're outside, you're cold, you get used to it, you come in warm, 20 minutes later.
Short meeting, so.
Heads over to the side, mouth open, drooling on your shoulder. Yeah, it happens.
Sorry,
We got to get out of it a couple times.
Should be audible on the radio.
That's what I'm saying. They heard you. That's in front of the Let's go over at 191. Oh, we want them to know on a camera.
That happens, it's not me.
We're back here talking bad about all of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's all on camera.
It's all on camera now.
Yeah.
Yeah.